AI is quite a sort of controversial subject, isn't it? I mean, it's like Copilot in Windows, all these kind of things. And it sort of annoys a lot of people on the way back. And then there's so much hype. There's so much hype about AI. It's ridiculous. So it was really interesting because I was going to do a sort of video on how to set up OpenClaw. Now, OpenClaw is the king of the hype thing. I watched some great videos online, and they're literally the people who are like fanatical about it, about what it can do. But if you break it down logically, it does great things for quite a small amount of people. Not many. I mean, because a lot of what they're talking about and a lot of what they do isn't what we do. Maybe me, because I make content. But if you're not a content creator, a lot of it's just not relevant. You don't need agents running off, investigating subject matter, creating scripts for you, and then, do you know what I mean? You don't have that. You just go to work, do what you do. And so where can it sort of like fit in? So OpenClaw is an interesting one, and some guys like going on about how it's going to revolution. It's what it is. Now let's just back up a bus here. Claude, like the desktop version of Claude, pretty much does everything OpenClaw does in a much more safer environment. It's a bit more controlled, but if you want to like contact your computer over your phone through the Claude app to get it to look into your documents and sort your desktop out, you can get it to do that. I mean, really, I mean, it's just a little bit too much. You've got to really think about how AI does work. Now, one of the great things about Linux, and Omarchy especially, is we've got control of our AI. So when we do coding, we switch Claude on, we can switch it off. We can set things up. Now, OpenClaw runs all the time in the background, but you've got more control of it. With something like a Copilot, it's embedded into your system, and it's there, and it's becoming ever present. And now you're starting on OS X. I sort of noticed as well that the AI would pop up when you were typing stuff, and it was always working. But on Linux, on Omarchy, it's just not there, and you sort of like you turn it on and off as you want it, for what you want to do with it. So yeah, so it was really interesting. DHH sort of did a video a couple of days ago about a thing called Once. Now, Once is a sort of a platform, another thing that they've developed. It's all sort of beautifully Omarchy-styled, and I'll go through it. And we're going to talk about this Omarchy-styled thing. And basically, it runs Docker containers in this great interface and allows you to install things, Docker web apps, really simply, get things going. Obviously, he used it as a great advert for Fizzy and the books thing, which I'll show you the book thing when we go through it. But then I was in it, I'm thinking, well, they're all rambling on about you've got to buy a mini Mac, you've got to buy hardware to do this. And then I watched this some guy that said you should never put OpenClaw on a VPS. Well, there's a couple of points here. Most of these people who seem to be doing this are pretty clueless about like DevOps and security. So, most people are just doing this stuff with no idea of what they're really doing on the server level side of things. So they're closing down the ports, or they're putting filter ban on there, all these things. They're, when they do them on their VPS. But irrespective, is your desktop, is your Mac closed down enough to be secure? So, I mean, there's lots of things. So what I thought I'd do, and I'm not going to do it in sort of parts, I'm going to give you an overview now, but then we'll step through what's in. I was going to set up a VPS using Claude to be secure, do it as far as we can get it to. Then I'm going to install Once. Then we'll install a couple of the apps that come with it. And then I've done a Docker container that allows you to install OpenClaw. OpenClaw uses some bizarre port, 16,000 something. So I've written a script that goes around that and makes it go through port 80, like everything else does. So I've made it like be contained. So you can run it in Once as well. So you can run OpenClaw. But the beauty of this is you can have it up, and then when you finish with it, you switch it off. So, I mean, you can have a play. I mean, this is designed to have a play. But no, Once is a great platform. I was really impressed. It just came out of the blue, this. I'd heard of it when I went on 37 Signals. And I thought, oh, this is quite fun, because you can, if you've ever worked with a virtual server, you don't want to do anything here. If you want it online, if you've ever worked with a virtual server, it's like, oh, this is quite tricky to set things up. I mean, hosting has got this Docker manager, you can install stuff, but really it's not super friendly. I just found Once really easy and really simple to do, and all the instructions are there to do it. So what we do now, very quickly, because I'm not going to do it all in this video, we'll just jump in and have a look what I've set up, just give you a demonstration of it. And we'll talk a little bit about DNS and how you set up a web address to an IP for a server if you don't know how to do that. A lot of people know how to do this, and things like that. So yeah, so that's a massive preamble out of the way. Let's dive in. Okay, so in this, I'm just going to show you around what I'm talking about with once. Okay, so if I go to Scribble, this is once a GitHub. I'm sure this has only just been released. I mean, I've known of once beforehand where they had it. I'm sure it's a problem. I'm not sure, but I'm looking back on the history of this. It looks like the initial release was only 2 weeks ago. Anyway, so here it is. It's a platform for installing and managing Docker-based applications, and it's like totally Omarchy-fied. It's like got really cool interface, all this sort of business. But what can you do with it now? You can run it locally. You can run it on a laptop. But obviously, the best use case for this is up in the cloud on a VPN, a VPN. So what I've done, I've already set this up. So if I just go on another screen, and I've actually done a shortcut. I mean, what I'll do in the next videos, I'll do DNS settings, VPN. We'll go through with Claude how to lock down a server. Then we'll install once, and then we'll sort of get you. So I'm jumping you to the end, and I'll show you how you get here. Okay, so let me just go into my controls. I've got once. So if I launch once, now this is using SSH going straight to my server, and I've got everything shut down. So I've installed their Books app, their Books thing. So you get greeted by this. So let's just do a new app. So click N. Now I've not installed Campfire, so we could do that. So Campfire. Hostname. So the website I'm going to be doing on is no signal. So let me just bring up a browser and go to no-signal. Now I shut everything down on this BPS, so there's nothing there. So no signal now. What I've done, and we'll go through this, I've set the DNS with wildcards, so I can do what I want. So let's just do camp dot no hyphen signal dot UK. So basically what's going to happen is I've made that up and it install it. There you go, doing its thing. I'm saying back going because I'm actually shut down the web server as well. So, what I'm working at, I'm not going up to logging into a provider. I'm doing it through this interface. You know, normally you'd be in the back end of hosting a Hertzinger, whatever it's called, and you'd be in there fiddling around doing stuff. But this is just like loading in thingies and, you know, DigitalOcean explosion of information. So it's verifying. And there it is. So now it's installed and it's up. So I should be able to go to camp, no hyphen signal. So just put a camp in the front of that, and I should get the login screen. I think they did this in the camp. Does this one? It is. There it is. So now let's call that Gavin, email address, that one, password. Something really ridiculous because I'm going to delete this instance in a minute anyway. Okay, so never. So I've set up Campfire in seconds, and you could send it out, and I could like get anybody involved. Now, if I don't want that anymore, I can just stop it. Let me just get rid of that. I'll still go over here, and I've selected it. I can go actions, stop. It's shut down, and then I can delete it by going actions, remove. And then remove it. So what I've also done here, I was fiddling around today and I've imported the whole Stamix CMS system into here. So if I fire this one up, go actions, start, and basically this was a Stamix site. So I've imported it, I put a Stamix site inside a Docker container. Now, what can we call this? Is simple. Inside a Docker container. And then I put it pushed it onto Git, so it's sat there, and then I've got it locally on the machine, and I've got my own website done in minutes. So let's go to www. I think on the www, I've just got a picture of a boat, and I just started adding bits. So that's it now. I don't want to use that anymore. I just go to actions. I can stop that as well. And then there's their Writebook platform. Now, you know, this comes as part of one of their things where you can build and write books. I won't go through that. And then there's Claw. Okay, so actions, start. So basically, I put that on Claw, no signal. Claw. Would it come up? He says Claw, no signal. Okay, connect. Okay, and I'm in my OpenClaw thing. Let's get rid of that window. And you can set it up. Now this is all running, it's as secure as I can get it. And it's all running on a portion of the VPS. Now, this is one of the things, you don't need to buy some mini Mac or something to do this. You can just have a play with it. And obviously, if you don't want to carry on, leave it running, you can leave it running in the VPS. I mean, the whole thing is about security on this, and I'll take you through how you lock this thing down. So let's just bring up my once terminal again. Once you've finished having a play, there it is. Let's get rid of that. We can just tab down these controls in here. Action, stop. And it's shutting down. But I just found this really powerful. I just found this is really handy. It's like stuff like that. You could bring a WordPress site in, but you need to work with Claude code, and you connect the two to the server and everything, and it just literally works out how to do it. And then creates a Docker container and does that. It's got everything you need in here. So, I mean, new app, you can see on here, you've got Fizzy as well. I haven't played with that yet. But then you've got settings, application settings. Just go back into that. Application settings, where are we? Settings. Set up email, environment, resources, updates, backups. You can make a backup folder on your server, back stuff up, set it up automatically. So, yeah, you go. I mean, it's incredibly simple to do this. Anybody who's played around with like setting up stuff for Docker for web apps, this is just so simple, because I mean doing it on a hosting platform would be quite tricky. So now I've shut everything down on my server. I go Super Shift B, and then I go to no signal. I'm shut down. So my Play server now, I mean, I got the server off of hosting it for like, I think it's $6 or $8 a month, just to play around with it. But there's obviously so much you can do with this. But the AI part, what I'm going to show you is going through AI to help you build stuff, because you can turn this stuff off. And then we'll go through, like, I'm not going to go through OpenClaw. I just meaningless to me, OpenClaw. Everything in it, I don't do what it needs me to do, or I don't think, I mean, working with an assistant like this, it's not what I do. I mean, you can do everything through Claude. It tells you your calendars. You can schedule stuff. You can do it just through desktop Claude if you've got that. So, I mean, there's a lot you can do with that. But on a Mac, on Linux, you don't have as many opportunities with that kind of stuff. So OpenClaw would be great for Linux. It's the only real use case, because you don't have the desktop version of Claude to work with, the same as you do in Windows. Anyway, so very quickly back to me. So yeah, so I won't do all these all at once. I'll be interspersed with other videos, but I'll step you through how to set up DNS, how to set up a VPS, how to use Once, install Once on there, do some web apps, hook it up with Git, but we'll go through it with Claude. I mean, Claude's great, because Claude will step you through it, tell you what you need to do, and then you can switch Claude off. You can remember what you've done, and you can just set this stuff up and have a play. I mean, you can just, for $4 or $5 a month for a VPS, you could get Claude to build your website, host it on that, because once it's free. You could host it on that, have your own website, do what you want, and Bob's your uncle. Do you know what I mean? You can do, there's so much you could get it to do. It's just a very useful tool, and Once it's a brilliant tool. But using Once with AI, I think DHH does it in the video, where he vibe codes an app and puts it up there. It's brilliant for that kind of stuff. So there you go. I hope that's going to be useful. And if you're interested, and if you'd like to see anything about how you do this with Once, just let me know in the comments. But I just thought it'd be different from games and stuff like that. I mean, I think I've come to the end of the road nearly with that games launcher. That's done. I've got one major version to create for that, I think, for all the distros, but that's going to be a long-term job. But I saw the video from DHS with Once. I thought that's really clever, and I thought that would be really useful, because I do stuff all the time like this, with like, I need to set something up quickly, or I need to do this, or you can do all sorts, even on a very low spec server. And also, if you want to play with your Claw thing, it's difficult to set up in Omarchy, but if you Dockerize it on there, you can turn it on and off within a second, can't you? If it goes mad and deletes your inbox, like the head of security for Facebook. Anyway, with that thought there for you, thanks for watching.